suggestions. We've talked about already that if we were to tell you what your life should look like, we're no better than anyone else in society, anything else in the world, any kind of marketing, advertising, opinion, any of that stuff.
How many of you realize we haven't shown you an example yet? A couple of you said, well, can I see an example? And I'm like, you can later. We haven't
There's
put
a
one
reason
up.
for that, right?
We don't want you to write what we put up.
Yeah.
This is yours. Yours.
So these are suggestions. We've had students come in and say, hey, you know what, like this one you showed over here, I don't really resonate with that word, I use this word instead. Great. Perfect. Go ahead and do whatever you'd like on that. So needs. Needs, and by the way, these are all described in the book, and we'll talk about this over your lunch or your homework. Needs are the things that are non-negotiables for you. These are requirements that you absolutely cannot live without. You need them in your life. That's
How many of you think
needs.
you know what you need? All right, we're going to check that.
All right. So these are the non-negotiables. You absolutely must have these, like you need oxygen. Wants. This is pretty self-explanatory as well. The things you want. Now, sometimes this line is blurred quite a bit. Do we need that $5 Starbucks, or do we want the $5 Starbucks? Do we need the 107-inch plasma, or do we want the 107-inch plasma? Some of this can be ambiguous. And by the way, is there any right or wrong with either of these? Repeat after me. No. Go like this. Move your head. No. Turn to your neighbor and say no. Okay. Good. The point here is all we're trying to do by incorporating all of these different vision elements is make sure you don't forget something. All we're trying to do is make sure you don't accidentally let something slip through the cracks that later you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about this. So some of these, we'll go more into that in a moment. Spiritual. What do you want your spiritual life to look like? If this is something that's important to you, can you expand upon that and classify it and characterize it? Is this something that is something like, how's your walk with your creator, or whatever you believe in the universe? What does that look like for you? What does your family life look like? Family, again, can be very loose in terms of its definition. Some of you have family that is actually just friends, or you have family friends that now you consider like an aunt or an uncle. So this is also ambiguous as far as like, you know, how you actually define it. It doesn't have to be rigid, is what I'm saying. Friends. What do your friendships look like? Your relationships. We mentioned yesterday how important it is to have friendships in your life. You know, a lot of times, I don't know if any of you know someone like this, but sometimes they'll get into a relationship or marriage or have kids, and all of a sudden they disappear off the planet, and you never hear from them again. And you'll pop up like a year later, and you're like, you're still alive? And that's not healthy necessarily for a full, well-rounded life. You need friends. What does your health look like? We talked about this. How would you describe that? Is it a percent body fat? Is it blood work? Is it that you have energy? Is it that you're able to run a marathon? Is it that you can bench press 400 pounds? What does that look like for you? You'll determine here, and you'll see that everyone's definitions and criteria and expectations for these are different. Charitable. What does your charitable life look like? You can include money here. You can include finances, or you can include serving. Time. Maybe you're going down to the animal shelter, or you're serving in your church, or there's a mission or a purpose or some sort of charity that you feel passionately about. And maybe you know someone that had diabetes, so you're really passionate about that. Whatever it is, that's your charitable life. Personal gratification. This is nothing more than think of things that make you tick, things that get you juiced up, get you excited, things that you really, really enjoy, and that you gratify yourself with. And this can be any number of things. And you'll see in a moment why this can be redundant with some of the other ones. But again, the purpose of this is to make sure you don't miss anything. Here's hobbies. What do you do for fun? I like to build model cars. I like flying kites. I like to fish. I go skydiving, whatever it is. What do you do for fun? I knit. That was Peter's favorite, actually. So these are the things that...
Thanks for giving up my secret.
I thought, sorry, crochet. Got it wrong. So
yeah, exactly.
This is the things you do for fun. Now, here's the question. Well, Chuck, should I put it in personal gratification or hobbies? Or wait, what if my hobby is hiking, but I like to do it with my friends or my family, but I also get excited about it, and it's healthy too, And so I'm kind of getting a workout,
So
where should
does
I put it?
go? The answer to the question, where does it go, is yes. It goes somewhere.
Does it matter where it goes? Not at all.
So please don't get halfway through the exercise and say, oh, I need to go find out where this goes. Just write it on whatever page. You can write it in the margin. I don't care if you write it on the cover. Just
Does
write.
not matter where it goes. No regrets. Here's a bucket list kind of item, a vision element, where these are the things you regret either doing or not doing. Now, it does not have to be like jump out of a plane. Like typical, we have like, I wanna go base jump off of West Virginia Bridge. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be maybe rekindling an old friendship, or forgiving someone, or reconnecting with a family member. We had a gentleman in Phoenix who hadn't spoken with his dad in, do you remember how many years?
Long, decades.
Decades, at least a decade. And here's the tragedy, they literally lived 3 miles apart. Hadn't seen or spoken due to a fight. He comes to the event tonight, day 2, he calls his dad. His dad's crying, he's crying. His dad apologizes, I'm so sorry, I'm so prideful, I didn't want to admit I was wrong. The son says the same exact thing. That next day, day 3, after the day finishes, they catch up for dinner. They see each other almost every single day. Actually, maybe it was every single day. After that, for 3 months, the dad drops dead. If he hadn't have gone through this exercise, his dad would have died and would have never had spoken with him for over 10 years. So these are the no regret things on our list. It's not always the crazy stuff, right? It's not always sometimes it is. Sometimes it's the U.S. tour on a Harley. But sometimes it's the other stuff, the other aspects of our life that we look at that we would not want to regret not doing or doing. Business, we're not going to talk about business at all.
You're not allowed to write about that right now.
No, we're not going to talk about business.
We will talk about it tomorrow, I promise. Jason will be doing something else tomorrow at the back of the room, and I will talk about how you build a business tomorrow based upon what we get. But we will not write that today, we will write that tomorrow. We don't have enough information to do the business yet.
Yeah. And what's another reason why we're not talking about business? Someone yell it out.
When we died, we wanted more of everything except for business.
Well, is this a get a business event or get a life event? Right? Putting life first. If we put business in here, now we're going to start to filter everything else around the business. Business needs to be the afterthought here.
And so look, here's what we want from you. I want your best effort. Remember I said you gave yourself a gift? You're about to give yourself another gift. And this gift is really building on everything else you've already done. This builds upon what we did last night. This is the start of a vision. Now look, you're not going to come back from lunch with a vision that's perfect. I don't even care, again, no punctuation, I don't care about capitalization, I don't care about your grammar. I want you to dump what's in your head onto paper. Doesn't matter if it's the right page, to Jason's point. Doesn't matter whether it's in the right format, context, syntax. I want, as Peter says, you're not writing unless your pen is on the paper and moving. Writing is not sitting and looking at the paper saying, I don't know what to write. What is writing imply? It implies the movement of your hand. So what I would like you to do, if you can't think of anything else to write, and we're going to talk about family, let's say, you could write, I want my family life to be like, and by the time you get done with the E, you will know what the next word is. Trust me, just write. And once it starts, I think everybody who's done it can tell you, once you start writing, it's going to just come out. Is that not true?
And that's perfect. That's the perfect segue for this. Let's talk about